you're ready.
Good morning, Chairman. If, with your permission, we can ask Bob Deneen to conduct a roll call.
Please do. Thank you.
All right. Chairman Beiser.
Here.
Commissioner Brewer.
Here.
Speakers. Commissioner Davis.
Here.
Commissioner Gray.
Here.
Commissioner Henry.
Here.
Commissioner McKelvey.
Here.
Commissioner Reyes.
Here.
Commissioner Sandberg. Commissioner Sandberg.
Perhaps he's muted.
Commissioner
I'm here.
Sandberg.
I'm here. Yes. Here.
Commissioners. All right. We have a quorum.
Thank you, Bob. Good morning. My name is Dominic DeSera. I serve as the Executive Director. Joining me are the following staff members: our General Counsel, John Gay; Michael Belmonte, Director of Mutuals and Wagering; Bob Deneen, our Project Manager; and moderating the WebEx today is Donald Marquez. Today is Tuesday, May 18, 2021. We have assembled a platform for us to conduct today's monthly board meeting by WebEx in order to attend to industry matters, comply with executive orders, and safeguard our racing community. This meeting is being conducted remotely pursuant to Public Act 101-640, which amended Section 7 of the Open Meetings Act to permit remote meetings when certain conditions are met. The Governor has issued a disaster declaration due to the circumstances related to the COVID-19 pandemic. I, as the Executive Director of the Illinois Racing Board, find that conducting an in-person meeting is not practical or prudent because of the disaster. All members of the Illinois Racing Board have verified they can hear the discussion and the testimony. Members of the public are able to hear the meeting contemporaneously via the Illinois Racing Board website. I, along with General Counsel John Gay, are present at the Thompson Center. All votes will be conducted by roll call. Notice of the meeting was posted prior to 48 hours before the meeting, and a verbatim record of the meeting is being recorded and will be available to the public. Please note the meeting is being transcribed and oaths and affirmations are being administered in compliance with Public Act 101-640. Please remember, when speaking, you must first state your name, your first and last name. Chairman, if we would like to proceed for public commentary, we have a speaker that's requested to speak.
Yes, please proceed with that part of the agenda.
Chairman, Mr. Charles Grunwald has requested to speak during our public commentary period. Please allow yourself to be sworn in, Mr. Grunwald.
Sir, if you raise your right hand.
I'm sorry. This is public commentary. I apologize. It's not necessary for the public speaker to be sworn in. I apologize.
Okay, may I proceed then, Dominic?
Please.
Yeah, this is Chairman Beiser. Mr. Grunwald, I appreciate your taking the time to write your letter. It's very extensive, very well written. Each member of the board has received a copy and reviewed it. And I would recommend that so you maximize your 5 minutes in public commentary, that you comment on your letter or any other comments you would have, but not read the letter per se, because I don't think that would maximize your 5 minutes. So having said that, please proceed with your public commentary.
Mr. Grunwald, please unmute yourself.
There. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
This morning. And I would like to say, in full disclosure, that I am a shareholder of Churchill Downs Incorporated, and I believe that every company should do good, should profit by putting out a good product. And that is why I'm a little disturbed by recent decisions of Churchill Downs regarding Arlington. Back around in the mid-90s, I used to attend races at least once a week. I would go to the Paddock Pub, have dinner, buy souvenirs. But the cost of admission has gone up, to the point where is now maybe a once-a-season endeavor. And not only that, but for people with families, there's now an admission charge for children and for coolers, so it discourages a lot of people from attending races. And when business is down from competition from casinos, I believe that every effort should be made to attract as many patrons as possible. With this lockdown, hotels have drastically cut their prices for lodging, so I just don't see why Arlington hasn't done the same for the cost of admission. Plus, I used to attend breakfast at Arlington every week. It was a $10 buffet. It was a great deal, and I heard it was Arlington's most popular program. And then it was cut down to 4 times a season. And then in 2019, the last season it was held, the cost was doubled to $20. So I'm just worried about the attempts to bring in new customers. I remember back in 1994, opening day, Mother's Day, attracted 40,000 people. And I don't see why that can't happen again. So I'm sorry, can you still see me? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, sir.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, this is my first time using WebEx. So, but what worries me too is if Arlington closes, that the Village of Arlington Heights is going to lose much needed tax revenue in the near future. If I remember right, there was, when Mr. Duchessois proposed redeveloping Arlington Park in 1986, there's projections saying that tax revenue wouldn't come in to the Village of Arlington Heights for 10 years. Arlington Heights cannot afford to go 10 years without tax revenue. So I would ask that if it's possible to have a joint meeting with the Illinois Gaming Board and to question Mr. Karstanjian, both boards, as to Churchill Downs' future plans for Illinois. I haven't heard anything about a new racetrack yet. There even haven't been plans as to what this new racetrack will look like. So I'm just worried about the future of the sport, because Hawthorne and Fairmount can't carry Illinois alone. Illinois, like I said in the letter, Arlington is the nicest racetrack in North America, and it's the 3rd largest sports market. I don't see how horse racing, not only in Illinois, but in North America, cannot survive without a racetrack such as Arlington in the 3rd largest sports market. So, what I'm just saying is, yes, I'm a shareholder of Churchill Downs, and I want the company to do good, but more important, I want Illinois racing to do good. I want the employees at Arlington to do good. I want them to have jobs, and I want the horsemen in Illinois to have a promising future. So, if possible, I would just like to know that if Churchill can't, or says it's not possible to run Arlington as a racetrack, let somebody else try. If new owners can't make Arlington work, at least they tried, and Churchill Downs will be proven right. If not, there are going to be too many what ifs by losing Arlington. And that's all I have to say. And once again, thank you for allowing me to speak.
Thank you, sir. Chairman, may I proceed with the agenda item number 2?
Yeah, I appreciate your comments, Mr. Grunwald, and your comments have been, I'm sure, recorded by staff, and frustrations and concerns that you have expressed are shared by many in this, not only in this board, but in the state of Illinois and throughout the horse racing world. So I appreciate once again, and Chairman, or Mr. Executive Director DeSera, would you please proceed with the next part of the agenda?
Thank you, Chairman. Agenda item number 2. Request submitted by Suburban Downs at Hawthorne Race Course for approval of racing officials. Pursuant to Board Rule 422, each organization licensee shall submit to the Board for its approval the names of all persons selected as racing officials. For the Suburban Downs at Hawthorne 2021 meet, General Manager Tim Carey, Mutual Manager John Demme, Director of Security Dennis Taylor Jr., Track Superintendent Gregorio Cardenas, Racing Secretary Robin Schatz, Association Steward Daniel Poprowski, Assistant Racing Secretary Deborah Lindsay, Clerk of the Course Deborah Lindsay, Program Coordinator Don McKelvey, Starter Roy Finn, Veterinarian Dr. Tom Little, Outrider Robert Martinez, Placing Judge Joanna Battaglia, Timer Ron Uckman, Paddock Judge Greg Cash. Staff recommends approval of all racing officials, conditioned upon completion of the Board's licensing requirements. Should the chair or members of the board wish to speak to somebody at Hawthorne, there is a representative on the line, Chairman.
Okay, thank you. Do we have questions from the commissioners? Hearing none, do we have a motion for approval of this agenda item?
Ben Reyes, I'll move.
Motion by Commissioner Reyes. Do we have a second?
Kathleen Sandberg, I'll second.
We have a second by, I think Commissioner Sandberg got in there first. Would you please call the roll?
Chairman Beiser.
Yes.
Commissioner Brewer.
Yes.
Commissioner Davis.
Yes.
Commissioner Gregg.
Yes.
Commissioner Henry.
Yes.
Commissioner McKelvey.
Yes.
Commissioner Reyes.
Yes.
Commissioner Sandberg.
Yes.
Commissioner Stebbins.
Yes.
Motion passes 9-0.
Thank you. Agenda item number 3. Request submitted by Fairmount Park Incorporated for approval of racing officials. Pursuant to Board Rule 422, each organization licensee shall submit to the Board for its approval the names of all persons selected as racing officials. Fairmount Park Incorporated 2021 racing officials: Ronald Johnson, Outrider; Zachary Dombeck, Track Veterinarian. Both officials have previously served in these positions. Staff recommends approval of all racing officials conditioned upon completion of the Board's licensing requirements.
Do we have any commissioner questions of the Fairmount officials? Hearing none, do we have a motion and a second?
Leslie Brewer, recommend approval of the request.
Do we have a second?
Ben Reyes, second.
We have a motion and a second. Would you please call the roll?
Chairman Beiser.
Yes.
Commissioner Brewer.
Yes.
Commissioner Davis.
Yes.
Commissioner Gregg.
Yes.
Commissioner Henry.
Yes.
Commissioner McKelvey.
Yes.
Commissioner Reyes.
Yes.
Commissioner Sandberg.
Yes.
Commissioner Stebbins.
Yes.
With a 9-0 vote, motion passes.
Agenda item number 4. Request submitted by Arlington International Race Course for approval of racing officials. Pursuant to Board Rule 422, each organization licensee shall submit to the Board for its approval the name of all persons selected as racing officials. William Fultz, starter. Mr. Fultz is currently licensed and is a starter at Hawthorne. Shelby Hill, placing and patrol judge. Ms. Hill has been previously approved by the Board and has been employed at Arlington in the past years. Mike Dupay, placing and patrol judge. Mr. Dupay is currently licensed and working in the racing office at Hawthorne and now at Arlington. Jesse Campbell, clerk of scales. Mr. Campbell is currently licensed and working in the same capacity as he was at Hawthorne and now working at Arlington. Staff recommends approval of all racing officials conditioned upon the completion of the board's licensing requirements.
Do we have any questions from the commissioners regarding this agenda item for Arlington? Hearing none, do we have a motion and a second for this agenda item?
I'll move to approve.
Commissioner Davis has made a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
Leslie Sandberg, I'll second.
Did you get that? Motion and a second. I really didn't know which one was or who was the second on that.
We noted Commissioner Sandberg is seconding the motion.
Okay, just want to make sure we had that. We have a motion and a second. Would you please call the roll?
Chairman Beiser.
Yes.
Chairman Brewer.
Yes.
Commissioner Davis.
Yes.
Commissioner Gray.
Yes.
Commissioner Henry.
Yes.
Commissioner McKelvey.
Yes.
Commissioner Reyes.
Yes.
Commissioner Sandberg.
Yes.
Commissioner Steffen.
Yes.
With a 9-0 vote, motion passes.
Thank you, Bob. Agenda item number 5. Request submitted by the Illinois Racing Board staff for approval to initiate rulemaking to amend section 434.40 payments. Staff seeks to initiate the rulemaking process to amend rule 434.40 payments. The amendment is proposed to reflect current statute regarding outs reporting. Staff recommends approval.
Do we have any commissioner questions regarding this agenda item? Hearing none, do we have a motion and a second for approval?
Ben Reyes, I move. Leslie for a second.
We have a motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Chairman Beiser.
Yes.
Commissioner Brewer.
Yes.
Commissioner Davis.
Yes.
Commissioner Gray.
Yes.
Commissioner Henry.
Yes.
Commissioner McKelvey.
Yes.
Commissioner Reyes.
Yes.
Commissioner Sandberg.
Yes.
Commissioner Steffen.
Yes.
With a 9-0 vote, motion passes.
Thank you. Agenda item number 6. Request submitted by Illinois Racing Board staff for approval to initiate rulemaking to amend section 502.840, husbands and wives. Staff seeks to initiate the rulemaking process to amend rule 502.840, husband and wives. The amendment is proposed to ensure that the intent of the rule is not circumvented. Staff recommends approval.
Do we have questions from the commissioners? Dominic, I would ask just, this is Dan Beiser, would you just please give a quick summary of this for...
Certainly. So the rules project that has been stated in the past has been an ongoing, revolving process to update rules, reduce redundancies, and consolidate rules in our current rule book. So each month we review rules that have been requested either by our staff stewards, veterinarians, stakeholders, and this rule particularly was matched up against the ARCI model rules and recommended by the Board of Stewards to give ultimately discretion to them on a case-by-case basis. The rule as written is somewhat contradictory, and Bob Deneen could provide additional detail if needed. So striking the last sentence sort of eliminates the confusion in the existing rule and puts the responsibility on the steward to assess the circumstances.
Thank you. Do we have any questions of the commissioners? Hearing none, do we have a motion and a second?
Commissioner Henry seconds.
Do we have a motion? I didn't know if I heard a motion to approve.
Motion, Commissioner Henry, motion to approve.
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second Marcus Davis.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Chairman Beiser.
Yes?
Commissioner Brewer.
Yes.
Commissioner Davis. Yes. Commissioner Gray.
Yes.
Commissioner Henry.
Yes.
Commissioner McKelvey.
Yes.
Commissioner Reyes.
Yes.
Commissioner Sandberg.
Yes.
Commissioner Steffen.
Yes.
With a 9-0 vote, motion passes.
Thank you, Bob. Agenda item number 7. Request submitted by the Illinois Racing Board staff for approval to initiate rulemaking to amend Section 402.160, political contributions prohibited. Staff seeks to initiate the rulemaking process to amend Rule 402.160, political contributions prohibited. The amendment is proposed to ensure that Section 402.160 accurately reflects Section 24F of the Illinois Horse Racing Act of 1975. Staff recommends approval.
Do we have questions from the commissioners regarding this agenda item? Hearing none, do we have a motion and a second?
Mr. Chairman, if I might, this is John Gay. Just for the record, I'd like to clarify something.
Please do.
May I?
Yes.
I just wanted to point out that the title of the section is a bit of a misnomer. The rule doesn't prohibit political contributions. It prohibits anything that be any contribution or any gift that would be prohibited by the Ethics Act. So, just want to put that on the record.
Okay, thank you. Do we have a motion and a second regarding this item?
Leslie Brewer, I move that we be approved.
Okay, do we have a second?
Ben Ray is
Leslie Sandberg, second.
Commissioner Reyes, I think, was there the second. We do have a motion and a second. Would you please call the roll?
Chairman Beiser.
Yes.
Commissioner Brewer.
Yes.
Commissioner Davis.
Yes.
Commissioner Gray.
Yes.
Commissioner Henry.
Yes.
Commissioner McKelvey.
Yes.
Commissioner Reyes.
Yes.
Commissioner Sandberg.
Yes.
Commissioner Steffen.
Yes.
With a 9-0 vote, motion passes.
Thank you, Bob. The next agenda item are commissioner comments.
Okay, I appreciate that. My bad. I meant to start the meeting out before we went to agenda item 1 by introducing our newest commissioner, Lydia Gray, and I apologize, Lydia, for that. So usually I do in commissioner comments, I try to go by seniority, but this time we're going to make an exception and ask Commissioner Gray to make her comments and tell us a little bit about her background and just a little bit about herself. Would you please do so?
Sure. Thanks for that. And I'm honored to be on this board. I should start off with, I am an equine veterinarian, but you don't have to call me a doctor. I also am a horse owner, and so I bring a lifetime of horse knowledge, I think, to the board, and also specific horse health knowledge. So I feel like I'm bringing some things that I hope we can all use here. And I also want to add that I have an extensive experience in what's called organized veterinary medicine, in that I've served on lots of boards, been on lots of committees, so hopefully that experience will also lend itself of use here with us.
Well, thank you. Welcome to the board, and it's unusual that
welcome aboard.
Yes. We all look forward to the time when we can meet in person like we normally did, and I think we're inching closer to that. So, welcome via WebEx, but we will welcome you in person hopefully in the near future. Okay, moving on. Commissioner Reyes, do you have any comments?
No, I'm good.
Thank you. Commissioner Davis?
No comments today, thank you.
You're welcome. Commissioner McKelvey?
No comment. Thank you.
You're welcome. Commissioner Brewer,
I have no comments, thank you.
Commissioner Sandberg,
Just welcome Lydia.
thank you. Commissioner Steffen,
No.
Commissioner Henry.
Yes, I have a few comments. Thank you very
Please
much.
proceed. Sure.
It'll be about 5.5 minutes. So, 2 months ago, I'd have said you could stick a fork in Arlington Park. Its owners had made it clear they were going to sell the property and make certain it did not remain a racetrack, leaving an entire industry in the lurch. By late March, even Dick Duchessois was publicly waving the track goodbye. Its fate appeared sealed. But developments over the last few weeks suggest a different outcome is still possible. Undeterred by CDI's apparent inflexibility, prospective buyers are now actively angling to bid on the property and keep a portion of it operating as a thoroughbred racetrack. Then, on May 3rd, Arlington Heights trustees voted unanimously to amend its zoning code in a way that says CDI cannot block a future owner from using the property for horse racing or gaming. The mayor of Arlington Heights said the action was taken to, quote, ensure that the possibility of horse racing remains on the table, unquote. According to the community's village manager, Chicago, Schaumburg, and Buffalo Grove have used similar procedures to keep property owners from using so-called negative use restrictive covenants. Clearly, future land use is a critical factor here, which possibly makes the trustees' move a big deal. Is it a game changer? Who knows? But CDI certainly now has to at least take it into consideration. Then came the widely shared Blood Horse interview with Churchill CEO Bill Carstanjen in its May issue. In it, he said, quote, part of the reason I remain optimistic about Illinois racing is we're not abandoning the Illinois racing product, unquote. Vaporizing Arlington Park was simply what he called a, quote, first step that then includes a do-over, or as he put it, quote, trying to move the racing license and trying to build a successful, viable racing venue. With all due respect, insisting that the way forward for racing in Illinois is to bulldoze what is already the finest racing venue in the country and not give another racing group at least a shot at saving it simply does not compute. His remarks did, however, further galvanize solidarity within the Illinois racing family and fans of the sport. They remain of one mind that a healthy statewide racing industry is best served by a healthy Arlington Park. By any measure, it's the crown jewel of an industry that supports 10,000 horse-related jobs in Illinois and has a $1.2 billion economic impact on the state. Among the biggest losers if the track closes would be the once dynamic Illinois breeding program, lower skilled, already economically disadvantaged members of the workforce, and local public schools and public safety departments relying on tax dollars the track now generates. But a few weeks back, as I was reading the Chicago Tribune's awkwardly dispassionate editorial about Arlington Park's assumed demise, another significant, albeit less tangible loss came to my mind. The editorial included a moving eulogy by longtime fan, horse owner, and retired ABC anchorman Ron Majors, who finished by saying, quote, to have Arlington gone brings a tear to my eye, unquote. I knew right away what he was feeling, because every racing fan I've talked to is as upset about Arlington Park's possible closing as he is. The reason is a simple one. What do we all want in life? We want to be happy, and Arlington Park has always been a happy place. No one brings their problems or their anger to the track. If you've been there on a sunny summer afternoon, you know what I'm talking about. It's families picnicking on the grass at the top of the stretch, and office parties going full tilt in the suites. It's folks marveling at the thousands of flowers, massive cantilever roof, and expansive European-style paddock area. It's the bowling club high-fiving in the winner's circle as the horse they recently claimed wins his first race, and dads standing at the rail with their 2-year-olds on their shoulders cheering on their pick, and couples posing for pictures in front of the statue of John Henry in the BART and swearing it still looks like the BART won the world's first $1 million race. This is all a part of the magic that is now in life support. It's the magic that a worthy steward would proudly pass forward to a new owner who is actually committed both to the long-term health of the sport and to a racing facility that has helped define Arlington Heights for 94 years. I believe that in new hands, while properly showcased and marketed, racing in Arlington Park should be capable of experiencing a renaissance of public affection in this, the third largest sports market in the country. Run a racetrack for the fans, for the horsemen, for the love of the sport, and price the experience accordingly, and growing numbers of people will discover or come back to the Sport of Kings as offered at Arlington Park. Now, as Mr. Grunwald said in his opening comments, hey, let somebody else try. Hey, I get it. Saving the track may still be a long shot, but so was Street Sense at the top of the far turn in the 2007 Kentucky Derby. He was running 19th, more than 20 lengths back. A sea of mud and a wall of horses lay ahead of him. Defeat was at hand. Then, jockey Calvin Burrell spotted a path along the rail. His colt got brave, and a few minutes later, they were covered in roses. Bottom line for Arlington Park, as I see it, there is still a path along the rail, and we've still got ourselves a horse race. That's it.
Thank you. My only comment would be in contrast to the comments, the very good comments by Commissioner Henry, is that I had the very good fortune of being at opening day at Fairmount Park, albeit obviously it's a different scale of track, but the improvements made to date and then the improvements that are on the board has put a level of excitement in the horse racing fans in the Metro East here that I've not seen in a long time. And just randomly being amongst the people that day and hearing their comments amongst themselves was very uplifting. And I just want to thank Melissa and her staff for the job they're doing for rejuvenating that track, and Mr. Stigritz for being a steward of that track for so many years and now being part of this renewal. It's a breath of fresh air for this neck of the woods, and I hope that breath of fresh air makes it up north. So that's all my comments. Now we need a motion to approve the March 23rd board meeting minutes. Do we have a motion and a second for that?
I have a motion to move.
Commissioner Davis has moved to approve. Do we have a second?
Reyes, second.
Okay, Commissioner Reyes is second. Call the roll on the motion to approve the minutes, please.
Chairman Biser.
Yes.
Commissioner Brewer.
Yes.
Commissioner Davis.
Yes.
Commissioner Gray.
Yes.
Commissioner Henry.
Yes.
Commissioner McKelvey.
Yes.
Commissioner Rand.
Yes.
Commissioner Sandberg.
Yes.
Commissioner Steffen.
Yes.
With a 9-0 vote, motion passes.
Okay, there being no more items before the commission, do we have a motion to adjourn?
Commissioner Henry, motion to adjourn.
Do we have a
Sandberg, I'll second.
second? Call the roll on that, please.
Chairman Biser.
Yes.
Commissioner Brewer.
Yes.
Commissioner Davis.
Yes.
Commissioner Gray.
Yes.
Commissioner Henry.
Yes.
Commissioner McKelvey.
Yes.
Commissioner Reyes.
Yes.
Commissioner Sandberg.
Yes.
Commissioner Steffen.
Yes.
With a 9-0 vote, motion passes.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, commissioners. Appreciate your time. All those that spoke today, thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of the week. This concludes our racing board meeting today.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dominic.
Thank you.
Dominic, would it be possible for the court reporter to get a copy of the commissioners, the commissioner spoke, Mr. Henry, was he reading from a prepared document?
I'm sorry, who's this?
This is a court reporter.
Okay, and you're requesting Commissioner Henry's prepared statement?
Correct, if he has it. There were a lot of spelling names in there.
We will secure that for you. Thank you, Patricia.
Thank you so much, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.